this is a tough one right here. You don't get really much tougher than this. You have a game in hand. You've got your closer out on the mound, chances to get outs.
The play at first, I didn't get a quick start over there. Once I got going, I was so focused on hitting the base, I missed the ball. I don't know exactly how far away it was. I just remember hitting off my glove.
I feel bad. I know we got the big league in the ninth inning, and they score a couple of runs. And like I say, I have to take this experience the next day, probably next outing, to game in this situation and do the best that I can.
Loss like this today is tough, but there's nothing we have to change particularly because everybody knows what they're gonna do. We just have to keep working hard, keep playing hard, and I think this is a good club and we can move forward and could move past this loss.
We have to just continue to play, man. We have to close games, and we can't just sit on whatever lead that we have. We need to continue playing, and I'm pretty sure that these guys are gonna learn from this and move forward.
Right now, this one is going to sink in a little bit, and hopefully we find some way to learn from it. Whatever situation guys are in, something that we have a chance to grow from. Myself, make sure I'm getting guys in the right position. Help, for all of us.
Big Apple, it's the Miami Marlins taking on the New York Mets, a National League East matchup. First of 3 here in Queens. Nice ballpark with a little bit of New York City in the backdrop. Always nice to come here. Going to make a few trips out to New York City this year. Already been to the Bronx, but now out in Queens for the first time, and some Marlins fans traveling as well. Certainly some frustrated Marlins fans, no doubt about it, after yesterday's game. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. Well, we said we'd give it 15 minutes and then stop talking about it. We lied. One last quick thought about yesterday and how this team is going to bounce back today.
Well, you're going to go out there and play your best game. That's all you can do. You can't worry about yesterday. Listen, baseball is a very forgiving game. Simply understanding there's 162 games, Paul. Listen, if it was the greatest win in the organization's history yesterday, guess what? You still got to strap it on and go out there and play today. Well, on the flip side, as you heard everybody say prior to us, it was a tough loss and one of the worst the organization's probably lived through. You got another game today to go out there and win. You got Hernandez on the mound, and you got an offense that showed up yesterday. So definitely some positives carrying into this Mets series.
Yeah, some of the offense that showed up. Sure, Lewis Brinson had himself a grand slam, the first of his career, but also Miguel Rojas, who all of a sudden has tapped into some amazing power in 2018.
Boy, has he tapped into some power. And you know what? He continues to surprise. He continues to get better. It's so much fun to watch him. He is not satisfied. He's not sitting here saying, I got 7 homers, 20 RBIs. I've met my quota for the year. Absolutely not. He is so good right now, and he is getting locked in as this season goes on. He's had a fantastic month of May. Even through some of the ups and downs, he continues to improve. And you saw it yesterday. I was surprised at home run number 2. We thought he he hit 1. Was he going to... Wait a minute, he hit 2 in a game? Yeah, that's right. Rojas has got good things going on right now.
No question about it. Another guy who had some good things going last time out was Eliezer Hernandez. He gets his second big league start today in New York. Last time out against the Dodgers, he had 5 innings pitched.
No, 5 innings pitched. You know what he did a fantastic job of was spotting his fastball. He put it where he needed to all game long. He used his changeup much more than that slider, and he stayed in the same lane. Look for him to do that today. It's about adding and subtracting to the velocity and getting outs and bad contact.
Adding and subtracting. That might be something that Jason Vargas does a little bit. He has added and subtracted a few addresses along the way, too, by the way. Well, he's been around.
He certainly has. Probably a little extra going up against the Marlins tonight, the team that originally drafted him and gave him an opportunity. But you know what? He struggled in the National League, and the Marlins right now need a bounce-back game in a big way. So hopefully they're looking to do to Vargas what he has struggled with this year, an ERA above 10.
We are looking forward to the opener here. When we come back, we'll hear from Miguel Rojas on this power surge this season. Mets and Marlins coming up in just a few minutes. Hey, but first, downstairs to Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, there's no doubt that yesterday was a tough loss for the Marlins, but one positive that we saw in that game, power at the plate. That included Miguel Rojas, who hit not one but 2 home runs against the Braves. Miggy is now up to 7 home runs on the season, and according to Rojas, there's a couple of reasons why we're seeing more power from him this year.
I feel it's the opportunity to play every day. I feel like I never had this opportunity to play in a daily basis in the big leagues, and it's something that is a first time for me, and feeling comfortable every day that I play, every opportunity that I have to face the same guy over and over. You have a little bit more chances to make adjustments, and all the success is because I had the opportunity to play every day.
And those 7 home runs for Miguel, a new career high. He had a total of 4 home runs in his entire career heading into this season. When we come back, the NL East rivalry between the Marlins and the Mets is renewed. It'll be first pitch from here at Citi Field.
By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. What a beautiful night in Queens. Awful lot better than it was when we were in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees about a month ago, but a beautiful night, not a cloud in the sky, perfect temperatures for the opener of this 3-game series. Here is the look at the Marlins lineup tonight. It is as it has been the last week or so, with Martin Prado in the 1 spot, JT Realmuto number 2, Brian Anderson back in the 4 hole with the lefty on the mound. That's kind of how Don Mattingly has structured the lineup as of late. And that lefty tonight is Jason Vargas. As we noted before, he's bounced around a bit, but this his first start in a while, in fact.
Yeah, he's been off for 12 days. He was skipped in the rotation last time through for, well, just be simple with this, poor performance. 13.86 is the ERA. His first 3 starts of the season. 12 1/3 innings pitched. My goodness, 26 hits allowed, 9 extra base hits. He's been hit hard.
And the first pitch of the night is upstairs to Martin Prado.
This winter, Vargas signed a 2-year, $16 million deal. You're trying to get him on track.
Well, what's interesting is that they brought him in to be a little bit of depth in the rotation, and then all of a sudden
they need depth for him.
That's right. They had a little bit of injury issues in spring, early part of the season. 2-1 to Prado, who was 1 for 6 in yesterday's game, 2 for 13 with a run scored in the series against the Braves. And a guy who has a 4-game hit streak against the Mets. 2-2.
Well, that's probably a pretty good sign for Vargas. That is his go-to pitch, the changeup, 82 miles an hour.
Setting up inside is Devin Mesoraco, who has been around for a couple of weeks now, back behind the plate. Again, it has been kind of an unfortunate storyline for the Mets the last few years with a lot of injuries, and certainly injuries at catcher, as this one is out to center field. Michael Conforto puts it away, and there is 1 out.
All right, let's give you the AutoNation scouting report of Jason Vargas for tonight's ball game. No National League love. That's right. Vargas has struggled not only this season. We showed you the numbers: 13+ ERA and 3 starts for the Mets. His career in the National League, he's got a 6.52 ERA and over 139 innings. So he doesn't love that National League. All right, Mechanical Met. Follow along. He was skipped in the rotation. We mentioned that already because of the numbers. It's his mechanics. There's a lot of things that have been going wrong as you look at what Jason Vargas has put on the table so far this season. Lefties 333 against him. Righties 476. My goodness. And the last one, where's the change? It's his bread and butter pitch. But here's the thing. In 2017, when he had a solid season last year, 184 batting average against. So far this season, 471 on the changeup.
1-1 to JT Realmuto, 1 for 2 yesterday with a double. On the inside edge, says the home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman. Mike Estabrook at first, Kerwin Danley, the crew chief, at second, and Chad Fairchild is at third. Tapped, foul, still 1-2.
Part of the problem for Vargas is that he has generally been jumped early. First 30 pitches in a ball game. So far this season, hitters are 13 for 23, hitting .565.
So you don't foresee him coming out of the bullpen?
Yeah.
with not necessarily settling in immediately.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we'll see how the Marlins choose to approach it tonight. You know, again, he's been off for 12 days. We talked about working on the mechanics.
They've broken his bat. 2 away.
Well, as fast as I told you about the changeup being his bread and butter and his go-to pitch to get so many outs, he picks up a fly ball to center field and a broken bat single, or excuse me, out to second base. Let's give you the defense for tonight's ball game, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Nimmo gets the start in left field, Conforto in center, Jay Bruce in right. Delorme, Rosario, Cabrera, Gonzalez, Mesoraco behind the plate for Vargas.
Mickey Callaway, first year as New York Mets skipper. As that pitch is downstairs to Starlin Castro. 1 for 5 yesterday, a run scored and a double. Had 3 hits in the series against the Braves. .297 in 18 career games here at Citi Field. But overall in 2018, tied for 7th in the National League with 51 hits. Everybody looking up at Nick Markakis in that category. Markakis with 62. Braves, a team that we just saw in Atlanta, in Philadelphia tonight. Those 2 teams separated by a half game atop this division. Inside to Castro, 3-1.
Well, we've seen a very specific pattern from Vargas. Fastballs in 87 to 89, changeups away.
To third. That's Guillorme across the diamond to Adrian Gonzalez. 3 up and 3 down for Jason Vargas. See Eliezer Hernandez against the Mets next. Of the first inning, opener of a 3-game set. Eliezer Hernandez getting the ball, his second start, 2018.
Well, he's coming off a very good start. 5 innings, 3 hits, only the 1 earned run against the Dodgers. What did he do so well? 75 pitches, 53 fastballs. He spotted the fastball inside, outside. He was moving the ball all around the strike zone and then incorporated the changeup, which made his fastball play a great job of doing that. Expect more of the same. He only threw 5 sliders against the Dodgers.
Brandon Nimmo in the leadoff spot, takes outside for ball 1. The Southwest batting order for the New York Mets. Michael Conforto is cleaning up today. We'll tell you a little bit more about the cleanup spot for the New York Mets this year, which has been doing not much of that, cleaning up, that is, throughout the season. Apparently they're putting a little bit more of the emphasis on the 2-hitter. Nimmo fouls it back. Nimmo, by the way, is getting a lot more playing time as of late. Mentioned the injuries for the New York Mets. It's not just limited to catcher with Travis d'Arnaud and Kevin Plawecki and all that kind of stuff, but no Todd Frazier in the lineup. He's still on the disabled list. No Yoenis Cespedes. He is on the disabled list. Unfortunately, the list goes on and on. No Juan Lagares on the disabled list, and of course David Wright, who has been there for quite a bit of time. So again, you look at the line drive out to center field. Brinson makes the catch. Thing is just guys can't seem to stay healthy, so Hernandez hopes to sink his teeth into that lineup tonight.
Well, you've got an opportunity to exploit them. Now remember, this is his second start this year, so he's got some additional numbers. 2.25 ERA. He's actually worked 8 innings. His first 2 appearances out of the bullpen. Not a high strikeout total, and of those 53 fastballs I told you, only generated 5 swing and misses. So doesn't have a whole lot of swing and miss type stuff, but bad contact. That's what you need to think tonight. He's able to get some of that. Hard hit ball from Nimmo to start the game for the Mets.
This is Asdrubal Cabrera, 1 for 1 with a pinch hit home run in yesterday's win over the Arizona Diamondbacks, as the Mets have won 3 straight, 4 of 5 overall. And for New York, just their second series win since they started the season, 12-2. So when these teams last met, the Mets were rolling, having swept the Marlins in Miami. Marlins were in the midst of that 5-17 start, but since that start for Miami, they have played .500 ball. Cabrera, fly ball out to right field. It's going to be Brian Anderson for the second out.
Well, let's give you the Marlins defense for tonight's ball game. Again, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Maben gets the start in left field. He's done some very good work against the lefties this year. Brinson in center field after the big day yesterday. Anderson in right as always. Prado, Rojas, Castro, and Bohr. JT Realmuto behind the plate.
Trying to get above the .500 mark in his career against the New York Mets, Don Mattingly. I don't know if that's necessarily kept him up at night, but what that could mean is also a bit of a bounce back from yesterday. Certainly a tough loss, but a new series, a new city, and a new day. 0-1 to Jay Bruce. One misses inside, and it's 1-1. Bruce yesterday 1 for 4 with a strikeout. In a cold stretch right now, a .204 average in 14 games in May. And before I can even finish that thought, a 2-out single up the middle.
Well, you're right about Bruce. Certainly a slow month, but definitely picking it up over the last couple of ball games. 3 for 8 coming in, and a rocket back through the middle. Now, Hernandez didn't get the fastball strike that I believe he should have gotten. The pitch before, Bruce is thinking, you know what, if he can't get that strike on the inside part of the plate, I'm going to look out away, and he gets a good fastball to hit.
There's 4 for his last 24 before that base hit up the middle. So 1 on and 2 out for Michael Conforto, who takes ball 1. Conforto's numbers on the season: 0 for 4 in yesterday's game, 5 for 15 on the homestand for the New York Mets in the cleanup spot tonight. And it's a cleanup spot that collectively ranks dead last in Major League Baseball in home runs with 1, RBIs with 16, and a 179 batting average. Now, sure, injuries and who's not on the active roster may play into that, but who's here is pretty darn good as well. So that's a bit perplexing. But
tell you what,
here's a strike.
Showed up to the office and I saw my name in the 4th spot. My hammy gets sore.
Check down at third. Conforto did not hold up.
Nice breaking ball, Hernandez. We haven't seen too many of the sliders so far this year. It's actually a very good one. Downward action.
Ball and 2 strikes. That one's fouled back. So again, the emphasis on the 2 hitters, right? So that must mean that the 2 hitters are coming through. Well, they're certainly better than the cleanup hitters. 277 average, 7 homers, and 35 RBIs out of the 2 spot for this New York Mets lineup all year long. So it's been more productive. And foul. .70 degrees, 45% humidity. We'll call that a breeze, partly cloudy. This is perfect.
Beautiful day in New York City. Maybe a cloud in the sky.
Again, a 1-2 to Conforto on the ground, right side, and Bohr right there. Bohr makes the play, and he will lead off the top of the 2nd inning here in New York. Back at home.
Yeah, where's the change? There's the change. That's exactly what Vargas is looking to do. This pitch was not productive his first 3 times out this year. Told you about the 12 days off. That's partly the reason why he needed to get his changeup back. If first inning is any indicator of what's to come, Vargas has improved.
Well, if it's working, and again, it's only been through 4 batters tonight. If it's working, how much can that help him get back on track tonight?
It's his best pitch. Mentioned it in the scouting report last season, and again, a very good one, 2017 season for him. That's how he ended up landing the 2-year, $16 million deal. Hitters hit 184 against his changeup. It's his best pitch by far. He plays off it well, helps us 87 to 88. He's below average across the board on just about everything other than his changeup.
Down low to Brian Anderson, had himself a couple of hits in yesterday's ball game. A run scored, 5 for 13 in the series in Atlanta. Now, as a hitter, and I know we've been hearing a lot about, pitch repertoires. And is a changeup, you think, a pitch that should, whatever word you want to use, coming back in vogue now? The way the cutter was,
I think
10 years
secondary
ago,
pitches are coming back in vogue. I know there was a lot of conversation generated about the curveball late last season as we saw, it kind of play into the postseason and how pitching was kind of dominating. To me, my personal opinion, we're wandering down that path of curveball, changeup. I don't know if the cutter's so in vogue any longer. It's the changeup grip. You see it working its way down in the strike zone, not a pull pitch.
There's Justin Bohr. 1 for 1 yesterday. That one was a triple. Came around to score a run, but walked 4 times. A career high with 4 walks yesterday. Takes a strike. Been walking an awful lot this month. Leading the National League with 20 walks in May. Only Mike Trout across baseball has more. Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. How many plate appearances per walk? It's been a lot. It has gone way up. The walk percentage, that is. That's the way you want to look at it. He's been utilizing both sides of the field. We've seen power the other way and patience at the plate. This at bat started 0-2. It's now 2-2 from Vargas, and it runs full.
You see how he's using all fields. Those are pretty good numbers. Of course, you'd assume right field has a few more hits than left. Very good numbers.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would miscast him as a slap hitter the other way, but it's been nice to see him use the other field and with power.
Absolutely. And again, that's the healthy respect. I think that's why you're seeing his walk total go up. Mets know this.
A called strike 3.
Well, after a heavy diet of changeups down in the zone and a couple of misses, creeps back in. 88 miles an hour underneath the hands to the inside corner. Justin Bohr thinks it's in. Home plate umpire thinks otherwise.
Back-to-back strikeouts here in the second for Vargas. And now Cameron Maben takes a called strike. Maben 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. In yesterday's ball game, had himself a double in the Atlanta series. Jammed on the ground to third, Guillorme. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for Vargas. Through an inning and a half, we're scoreless.
26th. Sample more than 20 different domestic and international brews. Tickets to this event start at just $30 when the Marlins take on the Nationals. Plus, you'll get early access to the party at Clevelander at Marlins Park. Purchase your tickets at marlins.com/beerfest.
Adrian Gonzalez to lead things off for the Mets here in the bottom of the second inning. He takes outside from Eliezer Hernandez. Gonzalez, Mesoraco, and Guillorme due up for the Mets. Drafted by the Marlins 1-1. Overall, first overall pick back in 2000. Backhand play in shallow right field for Castro. And Gonzalez is retired for the first out. So he is faced 5, retired 4, stranded Jay Bruce in the first inning, who had that 2-out walk. And here is Devin Mesoraco. Interesting little story on Mesoraco and how he got to the New York Mets. When we Marlins were playing the New York Mets in Miami, Mesoraco was still a Cincinnati Red. When we were in Cincinnati, he was still a Cincinnati Red. Shortly thereafter, the Mets came to town. Mets and Reds got together. Devin Mesoraco to Cincinnati, Matt Harvey to the Reds, or Mesoraco to the Mets. I'm completely confused by the whole thing. The bottom line is, Holly, because I know you're sticking with me on this one. Look, Mesoraco's wearing a Mets uni, so he's a Met. That's it. That's the moral of the story. But it was one of those things where he took batting practice with the Reds that day.
They were in the same stadium. There you go.
And then he just goes across the hallway. And then he struck out.
It happens. Nice job by Hernandez. Elevated. Set this up. I thought he did a great job right here. First pitch, slider. Mesoraco has been showing off the power for the Mets in 7 games, 3 home runs. You mentioned that, but here's a good look at the 4-seam fastball. It gives you that idea, almost like it's climbing to the top of the zone. Mesoraco underneath.
Luis Guillorme takes low, and that is what the Marlins like about Hernandez, is that spin rate, that fastball that doesn't seem to, it seems to rise. Again, we all know physics, the ball actually doesn't rise, but it stays on plane, it stays up. So you'll see that guys swinging underneath it, assuming that it's going to dip a little, as most will.
You factor in the great changeup and the mechanics that have been very, very clean. I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't stay that way. This young man's got some potential. Most people say 91, 92. How in the world is that going to play at the major league level? But with the changeup and the good mechanics, it plays up.
They also like the fact that he just attacks the zone. You know, he doesn't have that. You know, he's a right-handed pitcher, but he doesn't have that blow-away stuff the way that guys on the other side, DeGrom and Syndergaard, do. But it's how he utilizes it. And how often do we watch batting practice? You basically put it on a tee. Not every ball goes out of the yard. Just go after guys. Let the defense work, as he does right here. Rojas out, Maben in, and he will make the catch. A 1-2-3 second for Hernandez. Still scoreless. Not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Some Marlins fans in town as we go to the top of the third inning. First of a 3-game set between the Marlins and the Mets. It will be the bottom third of the order. Miguel Rojas, Lewis Brinson, and Eliezer Hernandez. Jason Vargas off to a solid start. 1, 2, 3 innings in the first 2 frames tonight. Posting back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for the first time since last August. So he has certainly allowed some traffic on the bases. Here's Miguel Rojas, his first career 2-home run game. Yesterday's loss to the Atlanta Braves. 0-2.
A lot of good things came out of yesterday. 3 for 3, couple of home runs, as you mentioned, 4 RBIs, on base all 5 times. First multi-homer game of his kind of young career.
And what he attributed it to was just playing every day and just getting into a rhythm. You know, we talked so much about the other side of things, about, you know, how difficult is it to be a pinch hitter, to be a utility player. I don't want to say that it's easy, but how easy, for lack of a better term, is it to get into a groove as he gets the strikeout there.
Now, when you're playing every day, you got a good chance to get into a good rhythm. You also trust that you're going to go in and out of things.
Brinson's been playing every day, and yesterday the hope is that this gets him into a rhythm, his first career grand slam.
That was fun to see. He stayed on his backside so well. That's what he does so much in his swing. And a real nice batting practice today. What you hope comes out of the Brinson grand slam from yesterday is one thing leads to another. Of course, he gets a base hit yesterday, multi-hit game. It had been a while. Got to go back to April to find his last multi-hit game. But you come to New York. You turned on 93, up and in. You hit it 450 feet. Gotta feel great running around the bases. You feel good about your swing and batting practice, and you'd love to see it transition into the game.
This one out to right field. Bruce is in, and there are 2 away.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Here is Eliezer Hernandez taking a called strike from Jason Vargas, who has set down the first 8 Marlins that he has faced. Just a couple of at-bats for Hernandez in his big league career. And 0-2. Well, Vargas works quickly. I'm sure the defense appreciates that.
Well, he continued to attack the zone even through his rough 3 starts to start the season. He wasn't in a position where he was shying away from the strike zone. He was just getting hit hard.
Not shying away from the strike zone tonight either. 4 strikeouts through the first trip through the lineup, but we're scoreless.
of the third. Over the weekend in Atlanta, we once again saw Brian Anderson make some spectacular defensive plays in right field. He's been working really hard with Freddie Gonzalez at the position, and Freddie said he's making it look easy. If you came to a game and you didn't know any better, you would think that Brian Anderson has been playing right field his entire life. But he said give Brian a lot of credit too. He's got a great attitude. Anything that we have asked him to do, not only has he done it, but he's done it well. Guys, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's footwork, Brian Anderson is taking to it, and the results are paying off.
Well, Brian Anderson doesn't want to just be a stopgap right fielder for the Marlins. He wants to impress and improve and put that on the resume. I had a good conversation with Don Mattingly before the game just about his defense, and that is a valuable, valuable asset in today's game. Think about it like this way, Marlins fans. We've told you so much about, step one. This organization is looking for talent, putting the minor leagues together, trying to acquire young talent. You've got a right fielder who can be multiple answers. You can look in different directions to help fill the gaps as this organization grows, so you naturally become an answer. If you kind of limit yourself, you say you're a third baseman, and I'm only a third baseman, well, that limits what the Marlins can do. So you have greater value when you can do multiple things at a very high level, and he has now done this. No doubt that he can play first, third, right, left. Huge, huge, huge asset to the organization.
Now, he has been terrific. The coaching staff is thrilled. We've seen it. We're impressed. But how difficult can it be for a player, not necessarily Brian Anderson, but a player to, I guess, learn a new position in the middle of a season, right? Because it's not spring training. We talked about this last week. It's not spring training where you can take some fly balls out there, get a couple of at-bats just to get your swing right, whatever, and go home. You're facing Scherzer and DeGrom and Chris Sale, who we've seen this year, like a bunch of guys. A couple of strikeouts for Hernandez. You're doing that at night after you're taking fly balls, trying to learn a new position at the major league level at 2 in the afternoon.
Paul, it's all about your attitude and how much you're willing to embrace the opportunity and the challenge that's in front of you. And if you're willing to do it, the process is streamlines, it gets easier, and you've got coaches who are waiting to help you on a daily basis. If you resist and you say, I'm inclined to help, but I'm kind of sort of want to do this, it can take a lot longer, and you probably will end up embarrassing yourself at some point.
The number 9 hitter, Ahmed Rosario, digs in and takes a called strike on the outside edge.
I firmly believe there's going to be a day and age in our lifetime where a super utility player may be the highest paid player in the sport.
Think so?
I do. I really do. And I think we're trending in the direction where we see the Chris Bryants of the world, multifaceted, can do so many things offensively. There may come a time, play 50 games in right, 70 games at third, spot start in center and left. I think they'll become a definition. I really do believe that that's a possibility. I mean, you hear what every organization is searching for right now, and the first thing they say, athletes. Give me athletes. Give me versatility. And we talk about this with the bullpens, right? And all the pitching. Well, the same could be said for the offensive. Got a left-handed lineup. We got a right-handed lineup. This player can play multiple positions. Well, he gets to play every day.
Two to Rosario, who had his first career multi-home run game in yesterday's win over the Arizona Diamondbacks. A game-tying home run in the 6th inning, a solo shot in the 7th inning, and it was the first multi-home run game in his professional career, minors or majors. Let's see him as the shortstop of the future. First 3-ball count of the night for Eliezer Hernandez. And a line drive into left center field, a base hit for Rosario. That a base hit to left center field, but you can hit it out of the park with a family-friendly deal Sunday, May 27th, when the Marlins take on the Nationals at 1 p.m. Pick up the Aquafina Family 4-pack and score 4 tickets, 4 Nathan's All-Beef Hot Dogs, and 4 Pepsi Soft Drinks or Aquafina Waters starting at just $84. Get your tickets at marlins.com/offers. Back to the top of the order, Brandon Nimmo. Lined out to Lewis Brinson back in the 1st inning. Nimmo getting his 4th consecutive start in left field as, again, the New York Mets try to navigate through some injuries. Usually it's Cespedes out there in left field. A mild strain of his right hip flexor and likely out until the beginning of June. They're also without Todd Frazier, and that's why we see Guillorme over at third. Travis d'Arnaud is out. Torn UCL in his right elbow. Juan Lagares is out. 10-day disabled list. Hyperextended left big toe, but expected to miss the rest of the season. As Nimmo breaks his bat. And unfortunately for the New York Mets, that's kind of been the story of how things have gone. You go back to last year, 22 different players spent 1,489 days on the disabled list. Only the Dodgers and Padres more. So that's what first-year manager Mickey Callaway and the rest of his coaching staff are dealing with right now. But they find themselves at the beginning of play, 3.5 back of the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. Nimmo pops this one up right side. Bohr looking at Castro, and it will be Castro for the second out. So I mentioned the 1,400 days lost last year. This year, 3rd most in Major League Baseball.
Now, the one thing that really shows through all those injuries is the Mets offense has taken a hit and they've slowed down. On the season, they average 4.5 runs per game. Of course, that's factoring in, the production that they had in April when many of these guys were not hurt and producing. Here in the month of May, just a tick above 3 runs per game. Puts a lot of pressure on the pitching staff, the bullpen, the defense to be, playing similarly to what the Marlins talk about an awful lot. Their brand of baseball.
Nothing's really slowed down as Asdrubal Cabrera this year, off to a terrific start. 321 average at the start of play, was the 6th best in the National League. 547 slugging percentage, 8th best in the NL. It's also that with the injuries, it's the push and the pull, right? Because the guys that are in the lineup, used tonight's for example, that means Cabrera's got more pressure on him to produce. Jay Bruce, Adrian Gonzalez, but then at the same time, the opposition knows, well, those are the guys we need to be careful of. Obviously, the depth of the lineup is not as great as it would be with a Frazier, with a Cespedes.
Well, for the Mets, I think the challenge is to survive the injuries. The point being, the Washington Nationals haven't run out and taken control of this division. Philadelphia Phillies are playing better, so are the Atlanta Braves, but nobody's within, shouting distance. I mean, everybody is. I mean, nobody's doing what we're seeing in some of the other divisions. Point is, if you can survive this and get your players back, it could be a huge boost. Say to yourself, okay, we survived the toughest part of our season, and now we get some of our bigger guns back. Great changeup by Hernandez.
Well, Hernandez said after his last start that at the beginning he was nervous. He was able to get into a rhythm, settle down. He's been in a bit of a rhythm here in this one, but trying to strand a runner here in the bottom of the 3rd. And that one's past Bohr and into right field. Rosario can fly. He's getting waved around. Here comes a throw from right. And it's 1-0 Mets on the double by Cabrera.
Well, with 2 outs in contact, Rosario off with the pitch. This pitch up, elevated and ripped into right. He's off and moving. Brian Anderson does everything just about right, even a good spin move there. Strong throw, never to get Rosario on his way around third, scores easily.
The first pitch to Jay Bruce will be Hernandez's 50th of the night. Mets cracked the scoreboard first. 0-1 to Bruce, who had a base hit back in the first inning. Attacking the zone. 33 strikes, 17 balls of the first 50 on the night as Bruce fouls one back. 0-2. Well, for the Mets, once again, their number 2 hitter comes through. So they've put emphasis on that. Cabrera with the RBI to continue a very good first couple of months for Asdrubal. Tabor. And the inning is over. Hernandez surrenders a run on the double by Cabrera. 1-0 Mets through 3.
Or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Asdrubal Cabrera with an RBI double in the bottom of the third has given the Mets a 1-0 lead as we go to the top of the fourth and to the top of the lineup for the Marlins. Martin Prado, JT Realmuto, and Starlin Castro. 3 consecutive 1-2-3 innings for Jason Vargas. And a strike to Prado, who flew out to center field back in the first inning. A far cry for Vargas tonight from his last start, which again came May 8th against the Cincinnati Reds. The first 4 Reds that faced him reached base. First time through the order tonight, 4 strikeouts and no hits. So he has gotten into a groove against the Marlins.
Really just working back and forth across the plate, adding and subtracting to the fastball, using the changeup as well.
Now 3-2 to Prado as the Marlins are looking for their first base runner. Vargas has looked good through the first 49 pitches tonight, despite the fact that this is his 5th 3-2 count. And the Marlins have their first hit, a base hit for Prado to left field.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
Nice job battling back. Fell down in the count. 0-2. Laid off 3 good fastballs to the inside part of the plate. Borderline pitches. Good takes by Prado. Picks on the changeup. Actually hunted the changeup right there. Good start to the 4th.
A high strike to JT Realmuto, who grounded out to second base back in the 1st inning. Talked to Martin Prado last week. He said he likes to work the counts. What's the benefit of that?
Well, you get pitches to guys behind you. Get to see what Vargas is bringing to the table of the starter that day. Hope to see his entire arsenal. At the same time, Martin Prado's game plan is to use the whole field. Game plans very, very well. You'll see him at times. He looks like he's deliberately going to right field. He can go to left. You can hit and run with him. But seeing a lot of pitches creates an opportunity for everybody else in the lineup to see before they get in the box.
Realmuto pops this one up toward the dugout. Adrian Gonzalez has room for the first out here in the 4th. I guess with that you'd have to have, as we see here navigating around the on deck circle here by Gonzalez and Mesoraco.
Adrian Gonzalez clearly calls it and takes it.
With that ability or that want, that game plan to work the count, inherently you have to have a 2-strike approach, right? Because you, assuming you not enjoy, but you're comfortable with 2 strikes.
Well, he is, and even though his batting average is a little bit lower right now, he hasn't really gotten off his approach that we've seen from him all season long. He's just kind of waiting to hit a hot stretch. Back to Prado. Real nice at bat. Worked his way back, has a good grasp of the strike zone, chokes up with 2 strikes.
Ball and a strike to Starlin Castro, taking on Jason Vargas tonight. Presented to you by AARP. The career numbers 3 for 9, and all 3 of them extra base hits. He's also worked a couple of walks against tonight's Mets starter. Tonight's Mets starter is Jason Vargas. Tomorrow it's Zach Wheeler. And in the finale of the series, it's Jacob deGrom. Between deGrom and Syndergaard, those 2 guys are 8-1 with a 2.37 ERA this season. The other Mets starting pitchers, 3-11 with a 6.37 ERA. As Agon will be tested in foul ground again, 2 outs. And speaking of tomorrow, our pregame show presented by your South Florida Honda dealers is on the air at 6:30. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson have you covered from the studio. It's an email Twitter Tuesday as Caleb Smith looks to bounce back up against the aforementioned Zach Wheeler tomorrow night. 3 night games here at Citi Field before an off day on Thursday. 3-game weekend set against the Washington Nationals. And then back to the road. A lengthy road trip, San Diego, Arizona, St. Louis.
Well, this will be an interesting at bat for Brian Anderson. Now, Vargas, his first time up, went at him with nothing but changeups. See if this young man can make an in-game adjustment here against Vargas.
Now, as a hitter, is it easier to sit on a changeup when a guy doesn't have huge velocity?
Well, and it's where your approach is. I mean, the one thing that you noticed is almost like Brian Anderson, you kind of saw him almost had like a pull approach to Vargas that first time up. Not sure why Vargas would have picked up on anything, but he's convinced himself that he needs to throw him nothing but changeups as he started him off with 3 more now and at bat number 2. Now, typically this approach from a pitcher would tell a hitter to stay in the middle of the field, think other way, let that ball travel a little deeper into the strike zone, and think about shooting it to right center field.
A 3-1 to Anderson. Right on the black, low and away, 3-2. That will release Prado with 2 outs. With Justin Bohr on deck. Off the end of the bat, Rosario. Inning over. Through 3.5 here in Queens. It's the Mets 1 and the Marlins nothing. West transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. The unmistakable skyline of New York City. Our home for the next 3 days as the Mets and the Marlins have a 3-game set. Not back to New York until September, right? Oddly enough, I think it's 2 series against the Mets in September.
That's what I believe. You've been informed, right? Weird schedule this year. Still haven't seen the Nationals.
That's right.
That's right. Now that's coming up.
It is. Over the weekend at home in Miami as Conforto takes inside. It's Conforto, Adrian Gonzalez, and Devin Mesoraco in the 4th inning for the Mets. Up 1-0 on an Asdrubal Cabrera RBI double in the 3rd. Both starting pitchers not afraid to go to the changeup tonight.
Well, Hernandez is doing a very nice job with the changeup. He's mixed in a few first pitch sliders, though. We didn't see that from him his last start. Tonight he's used it much more effectively.
And Conforto goes right back up the middle. Two of the Mets' hits, singles right back through the box.
Yeah, well, just like the Jay Bruce swing, this fastball elevated thigh high. Conforto can get his arms extended out on outer third. Right back through the box.
Conforto has now reached base in 28 of 34 games this season. The first time in 4 innings tonight that the Mets have the leadoff man on. Adrian Gonzalez taps it foul. Noted earlier that Adrian Gonzalez, formerly a first overall pick by the Marlins way back when, has been a terrific major leaguer in his career, and a little bit of a slide, at least production wise right now. No extra base hits or RBIs in his last 7 games. Usually, as you can see, a knack to drive in runs this season, yes, but also throughout his career. Runner goes, swung on and missed. Throw to second is in time. JT Realmuto with the caught stealing. Rojas had to go up to collect that high throw and then apply the tag.
Well, everything about it high, starting with the pitch. Gonzalez fooled by the changeup at the top of the zone, and the great thing a catcher will tell you, give me a pitch that's working its way up in the zone as you start to come out of your crouch just to catch the baseball. So watch. It's a little bit of a misfire. Gets JT into a great spot to throw a dart to Rojas. And do what the catching has done all season long, throw out base runners.
And strike out Adrian Gonzalez, 2 away. Sixth caught stealing this year for JT Realmuto. There are 2 outs. This summer, the World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 every match live, and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th only on Fox and FS1. Here's Devin Mesoraco. Drills the first one down the left field line, but it hooks foul. You mentioned the numbers for Mesoraco since coming over to the New York Mets. Sometimes a change of scenery can do a lot for a player.
Well, it's an opportunity to play. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Barnhart's playing every day in Cincinnati. Mesoraco is not.
Right field, long run for Anderson, and slides and makes the catch. Excellent play by Brian Anderson on the right field line. And that is out number 3 here in the 4th. That would have been extra bases.
Young man continues to impress and get better with every day we get to watch him in right field. It was only a couple of weeks ago. He didn't accelerate through the catch. Did a fantastic job. This is not about the read. It's about preparation for the catch. He knows that the ball is up in the air long enough for him to get underneath it. So what ends up happening, you have to consider the wall, which is just in front of you, and obviously where can you slide. Much easier to slide on the dirt than it is the grass, so make sure you don't start it too early. Does a fantastic job of getting the glove down and underneath the baseball. Improvement, I'm telling you. It just seems to keep following this young man. You brought it up. It was a great point. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. There was a catch. He had an opportunity to make it down the line where he didn't quite accelerate through the catch, Paul, and in this instance did just exactly what you'd like to see done, and he did just that.
I'm gonna have to get a thesaurus for more superlatives for how quickly he is improving out there in right field.
It all starts with attitude. That's the one thing that really impresses me about the young man. He has been nothing but a breath of fresh air to watch. He's embraced every challenge that's been in front of him, and he continues to improve. You watch him play the game, and you can see where, you know, even the moments where he gets frustrated, it's because he wants to be better than what's happening right there in that moment. Let's give you another look. Pretty straight line. I think he even maybe slowed down a little bit just for the ball boy getting out of the way there. It's just, there might have been a little traffic out there.
But he's very considerate too. You know, a nice young man.
Yeah, about two or three steps before the slide, it looked like he slowed down just a smidge. Maybe dropped an excuse me.
A 3-2 to Justin Bohr. Bohr struck out in the second inning, but overall the last dozen games coming into tonight for Justin Bohr, on base at a 401 clip with 18 walks, but he completes slash line 301, 574, 690. However, he is down on strikes for a second time tonight, one away.
Well, the changeup continues to work wonders for Vargas. Throw it to the lefties, he'll throw it to the righties. You see the diving action as it works its way below his knees.
Cameron Maben chop foul wide of the third base bag. Maben grounded out to Guillorme at third to end the second inning.
Well, Maben's done a nice job against the lefties this year. Came to tonight's ball game 286. Leads this team with 5 doubles.
Just low, 3-1. 5 strikeouts tonight for Jason Vargas. Has yet to walk a batter. Marlins have the 1 hit. A Martin Prado single to lead off the 4th inning. That one misses low, and there is the first base on balls issued by Vargas.
What quality at bat by Maben. Just not even giving in. Knows this is a 1-run ball game. 3-1 changeup.
That will bring up power threat Miguel Rojas. From 2014 to 2017, a home run every 189.2 at bats. This year, a little over 23 at bats per home run. Career multi-home run game yesterday. Didn't have to do too much digging for that either. His previous season high was 1. So
I think I got that out in about 10 seconds.
Yeah. I'm not one with the math all the time, but even I could figure that one out.
When you usually hit 1 a season.
Yeah.
we're kind of in that zone from now on with Miggy that it's all good. You know,
That's right.
It's always going to be a record, right?
Right. Well, Vargas set down the first 9 Marlins in order. Worked out of the stretch for the first time in the 4th inning. Got a couple of foul balls, pop-ups, and then the ground out to end the inning. The strikeout of Bohr to start this frame, and now Cameron Maben over at first base. A threat to run. Stays put here as Rojas dumps one into right field, a base hit. Marlins have 2 on here in the 5th.
Some good game planning by Rojas. Tells you how Vargas has gone about business tonight. Fastball velocities at 87, 88 miles an hour. You don't have to worry about being out in front, getting that barrel in the lead, especially when you've got to consider a pretty good changeup from Vargas. Let that ball travel. Think about using your off field, and nice approach, rewarded with a good base hit.
So with 1 out in the 5th inning, first time that the Marlins have a runner in scoring position as pitching coach Dave Eiland goes out to talk with Vargas. Marlins were 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position yesterday. Of course, put 9 runs on the board against the Atlanta Braves. Brinson fouls this one back and out of play. Brinson flew out to right field back in the 3rd inning. Don Mattingly was asked about Brinson. Sure, there's the home run, right? The home run's going to get the attention. It was a grand slam. That gets the attention for sure. But that was one at bat. How can this guy continue to get better over the course of multiple at bats going forward? And lefty righty splits right there. But on the whole, Don Mattingly has been happy with his at bats the last week or so. And just in looking at some exit velocities, it's been upwards of 95, 100.
Well, he's got some work to do. Down 0-2.
Time for the Toyota Inside Look. Rookie Grand Slams. Became the 19th Marlins rookie to hit a Grand Slam, and the 3rd this year to hit a Grand Slam, along with Scott Kingery of the Phillies and Colin Moran of the Pittsburgh Pirates. With a swing and a miss for out number 2 here in the 5th. That's 6 for Vargas.
Yeah, Vargas worked vertically this at bat. High fastball, top of the zone. Brinson swung through it, 87 miles an hour. Back to the changeup, down low at 81.
So with 2 on and 2 out, Eliezer Hernandez going to have to help himself to extend this inning. Marlins down a run here in the top of the 5th. There's a strike. Vargas has already surpassed his season high in strikeouts with the 6. His previous high was 5 against the Padres. The 28th of August of April even. It's not August yet. Will be soon enough. Maben the runner at second. He walked. Rojas at first after a base hit. And 0-2 to Hernandez.
Now he doesn't use the breaking ball much. Broke it out there. 74 miles an hour, slow curveball.
Next one will be the 85th pitch for Jason Vargas. Action in the New York Mets bullpen as Paul Sewald begins to loosen. It's a pen that worked 9 scoreless innings against the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend.
14 punch-outs, only a couple hits allowed.
And a called strike 3. 3 strikeouts in the inning, 7 in the game for Vargas. 1-0. Stop out to Washington, D.C. How about this? Juan Soto just called up by the Washington Nationals, one of their top prospects, the youngest player in baseball. He's just connected on a home run. 7 runs tonight for the Nationals. They scored 7 runs while getting swept by the Dodgers over the weekend.
Well, take that, Acuna Jr., the Atlanta Braves. That's right. Now I'm the youngest man in all the land.
It's amazing right now where this game is at, with not just the youth in the game, but the level of talent by these youngsters.
And I'm telling you, and it's crazy, right? They're getting called up earlier and earlier, and they're coming up here and producing, and they're getting it done. And the trust factor that front offices now have with the younger players, the willingness to go there.
Guillorme, Vargas, Rosario. Oh, look at that little guy.
Now that is a good pet.
Yeah. Tomorrow, by the way, is the Twitter Tuesday. That's a tweet, but tomorrow, many more tweets.
Wow. Didn't see that coming.
That's why it was gold.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Thanks. The bird's the word.
Guy needs to get out of there.
The 0-2 to Guillorme. Taps that one foul to stay alive. What were you doing at 19 years old, by the way? At 19 years old, Todd Hollandsworth.
As in Double-A.
Okay, so you're 19 at Double-A. When did you make your major league debut? What year? Well, how old were you? 22? How much did you mature in those 3 years? I'm just getting to where these youngsters are now at 19 years old in the major leagues. You know what I mean?
Well,
like how difficult that is.
I mean, a lot. I mean, each step along the way is different than the last. Meaning Double-A was certainly higher than A-ball. The talent level, the age group, the age of the players you're playing with.
Broken bat out to center field. Brinson in, sliding to make the catch. One away.
Well, Another beautiful catch by a Marlins outfielder. Good read by Brinson. Able to close fast. Maybe one false step back, but again, he closes as well as anybody. With long strides once he gets him moving. Well done.
Well, it's your move, Cameron Maben. Make the sliding catch tonight. Join your counterparts in the outfield. Brinson's got one. Anderson's got one.
He did yesterday. It
Yeah,
started the
you're right.
game.
You're right. You're right.
Fantastic running catch.
Here's Phillip Evans pinch hitting for Jason Vargas. So that is the night for Vargas. Again, after such a lengthy layoff, he strikes out 7 in 5 innings of work, gives up a couple of hits.
Well, I think they're protecting the storyline. A successful night for Vargas on his way to road to recovery, if you will. I'm not talking injury here. I'm just talking psyche. 3 starts when you've got an ERA up near 13. You're looking for positives. And he walks away from today's ball game, 5 innings, a couple of hits, 7 strikeouts, and 86 pitches.
And Evans comes through with a base hit. It's time for This Day in Major League History. Brought to you by Geico. Merv Retman, a 3-run home run in the 21st inning to lead the Padres to an 11-8 win at Olympic Stadium. Mr. Met. Walked by Mr. Met's locker room today. Wider door than one might think.
He's got a big head.
I know.
He's very arrogant.
Yeah. Ahmed Rosario singled and scored back in the 3rd.
Rosario is really taken to the 9 spot in the Mets lineup. Hitting well over his last 13 games, up near 308 now. 9 spot in the lineup, above 290.
As I mentioned before, the hope for Rosario is that he is the shortstop of the future here in Queens. Right, he's still young. Originally signed with the Mets in July of 2012. As he grounds one to Rojas, the flip to second, and they double up Rosario. Through 5 here in Queens, it's the Mets with a 1-0 lead.
family. How about what his parents and his sister have accomplished? His dad was a linebacker at Penn State. His mom was a 3-time Olympic medalist in synchronized swimming, and his sister played college soccer at a small school in California. Guys, I think it might be tough to say who's the best athlete in the Conforto family.
You might be right there, Jessica Blaylock, and thank you for that. It's interesting because not knowing Conforto personally, but seeing that list of accomplishments for the family, one would think that they are a pretty competitive bunch. As Paul Sewald takes over. Again, the first 5 innings tonight by Jason Vargas. Couple of hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts, a new season high. Outside corner to Martin Prado, JT Realmuto, and Starlin Castro to follow for the Marlins here in the 6th. Down a run.
Well, Sewald, 4-seam fastball, change and slider. This is the slider about 30% of the time.
Might have been it right there as it's popped up on the infield, and Cabrera puts it away for the first out. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. We go down to Double-A. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp for Cade Gata. 4 multi-hit games, and that's why he was the Southern League Player of the Week. 8 extra base hits, and OPS over 1,400. Big body, 6'4", 205. Minor league free agent that the Marlins signed in April. What a terrific athlete. JT Realmuto squares to bunt, pulls it back, and it's 0-1. Realmuto 0 for 2 today. Ground out and foul out. Down 0-2 to Sewald. What'd you think of Vargas tonight? Kind of gave you what you expected. Lots of changeups.
Absolutely. He got back to what his strength was. That was the question. Could he do it? Ran off the numbers for you.
Realmuto to Bruce in right. 2 away.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
Well, the idea going up against Vargas was, could you counteract what you knew was going to be his game plan, much like yesterday going up against Tehran, looking in a specific spot, looking for the vulnerability, and then pouncing, much like they did yesterday when Tehran started to hit the inside corner a little bit more. Some by on purpose and some by accident because they were missed pitches, but they were able to respond and tell you what the numbers told you over his career. Now for Vargas, the changeup, boy oh boy, that showed some serious vulnerability through 3 starts. 12 days off did him well. He didn't make any mistakes out over the plate. And I bet you, if you ask the Marlins, they'll probably tell you he threw a few more changeups than they were expecting.
Castro fights this one off. Long run for Gonzalez, but it gets into the first couple of rows, and it's 2-1. Get our first look at Adam Connolly since he was recalled from New Orleans a few days ago. 2-2 now to Castro. At this point, 5 innings, 5 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts for Eliezer Hernandez. Out to center field, a base hit for Starlin Castro. Another 2-strike hit, 22 to lead the club. Island out to talk with Seawald. Second mound visit by the Mets tonight. The Mets might have, not having been to all the NL parks just yet, they might have the highest, furthest away out-of-town scoreboard, auxiliary scoreboard of anyone. As Jerry Blevins loosens up, way out in left center field.
And you better not have a crick in your neck looking up at that.
Man,
You're right. It's up by the Jets. In fact, I just saw a jet take off right over the top of it.
oh boy. 0 for 2 tonight for Brian Anderson. There is one of those aircraft with LaGuardia not far off in the distance. And foul.
I'm sure Anderson is thrilled Vargas is out of this baseball game. Boy, oh boy, he saw 9 changeups out of 11 pitches.
Not the only leaderboard that Anderson is near the top of when it comes to rookies. It's been a great 6 or 7 weeks for Brian Anderson. Along with Jerry Blevins, A.J. Ramos.
Good take. Brian Anderson, borderline pitch. It changes everything. Good pitch to hit. Big guy on deck.
Marlins have only had 4 base runners this inning. This game rather. They didn't get their first until the 4th inning. Stranded 2 in the 5th, and now the base hit for Castro. 2-out base hit. Trying to make something happen here with 2 outs. And on 3-2. Castro gets a head start. That one misses, and there are 2 on for Justin Bour.
Oh, real nice at bat. Swung through the 3-1 fastball, inner third, back to the slider away, takes it, ball 4. That will be it for Seawald.
From the catch, little bandage needed for Mr. Anderson, sliding up against the dirt.
That's what happens when you make spectacular catches.
That's right. Sure, he'll take it. As Callaway takes out Seawald. Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here in the 6th. Ball of the bullpen brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Don't miss your chance to play for the massive Powerball jackpot. Pick your lucky numbers and get your Powerball ticket at any Florida Lottery retailer. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. The lefty Jerry Blevins comes in, pitching in his 19th game this season. Just the 8 1/3 innings pitched. He's much more of a lefty specialist, and facing Justin Bour with 2 on and 2 out.
Well, 4-seam fastball and curve, doesn't throw hard. 88, 89 miles an hour. He's done a good job with the inherited runners. Stranded 12 of them this year. Get this, lefties are 6 for 23, so a little more vulnerability. 261 batting average.
First pitch looked like it was a little bit inside. Saw Justin Bour exchanging words with home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman earlier in the game. Oh, 0-1. The 23 RBIs that Bour has leads the team, but just 1 for his last 13 with runners in scoring position. Castro is at second and Anderson at first. Bite at the sweeping slider there. 1-1.
Good take. Real good take. He doubled up to fastballs in and went to the curveball away. Nice job laying off the second fastball in. JB didn't like the first one, the first call. Blevins went right back there, trying to pick up a second strike.
Big gap in left center field for Justin Bour. Two 2-1. Fouled away. 2-2. The Mets play 3 men on the right side of the infield. Looks like Conforto pretty much straight away in center. But the left fielder Nimmo be a step or two toward the line, but it's a lot of space out there in the gap for Bour, and with 2 outs, anything hit toward there should score a couple.
Starlin Castro's in a good spot. He's really got nobody near him. The overshift on. Good secondary lead. Any base hit to the outfield will tie this ball game up.
Inside 3-2. Well, Blevins has tried to go to that spot a couple of times in this AB.
And this is why you turn your head quietly after the first pitch of the at bat and say, it's a pretty close pitch. I don't like it. I feel like it's a little in. This is almost identical to the first pitch of the at bat that was called a strike.
So now 3-2 and 2 outs. Both runners will get the head start. And Castro is on the move. He'll take third easily.
And why not? Everybody moved over to the right side. Your third baseman's playing shortstop. Why not take it?
Yeah. All he's got to do is get a step on Guillorme, and he's got the free 90 feet. So here's the 3-2. And Bour doesn't bite. Draws another walk. And the bases are going to be loaded for Cameron Maybin. Mickey Callaway out. Levin's job was to get the lefty Bohr. He walked him, and now AJ Ramos will come in. Another Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Marlins with a chance. Bases loaded. 2 outs here in the 6th. But they've got the bases loaded as they will face their old pal AJ Ramos, formerly drafted by the Miami Marlins, traded over here to the New York Mets last year in his 25th game, and he will face a pinch hitter in the person of Derek Dietrich as the matchups go that way. Cameron Maben out, Dietrich in. His numbers this season: 3 homers and 13 RBIs as a pinch hitter, though, in his career. 3 homers, 13 RBIs.
Now this could be the opportunity of the night. AJ's been struggling of late. 5 runs his last 4 2/3 innings.
And a little bit of a cross up there.
That's a surprise me breaking ball for Mesoraco. Well, AJ threw it. No uncertainty there, but for Mesoraco, no doubt, a little confused on what was heading his way.
Dietrich 0 for 1 in his career against Ramos. But Dietrich also one of the best Marlins hitters with runners in scoring position. He's got 3 on base right now. Ball and no strikes. Now 2-0. Dietrich was 1 for 3 yesterday, a couple of runs scored and a walk. .344 hitter in his last 10 games against the New York Mets. Behind home plate, Mesoraco gives it a look. But it'll be 2-2.
Now Ramos has challenged Dietrich at the top of the zone, thinking he can get that fastball above his hands. He won't be on time. So far, Ramos has gotten back into the count because of that. See if he stays there or moves somewhere else. Remember AJ. AJ has quite the arsenal. Four-seam fastball, sinker, change, slider, curve, cutter.
And a partridge in a pear tree. 2-2 with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Dribbler up the line, foul.
With 2 strikes to the left-handed hitters, he likes to go with that four-seam fastball up or the cutter in. You just saw the cutter.
Again, a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Marlins load him up, but the Mets bullpen gets the job done. Ramos with the strikeout, 1-0. Baylor.
He's really done a nice job coming down here, just working on. He's developed a slider a little bit, kind of got a little confidence in that, and then his changeup has really come along. But you know, the biggest thing, the fastball velocity's tipped up a little bit, and you know, Jeremy Powell and Chris Mahalik, the pitching guys, come in here working with him, have just done a fantastic job of kind of getting him back on track, and his confidence is going really good right now, and he's really competing well.
Brought up on Friday from AAA New Orleans, and the first time that we've seen him here in 2018. He'll face the top of the Mets lineup. Brandon Nimmo, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Jay Bruce. 95 miles an hour. Delivery's got kind of a lot coming at you. 1-1 to Nimmo, who is 0 for 2 in this ball game.
Love to see the 95. My goodness, he's bringing it.
That one up to 97.
He hides the ball well. Good shoulder turn. Tough to pick up.
He made 8 starts with New Orleans this season, pitching to a .518 ERA. but in the shorter term, a 1.93 ERA in his last 5 starts. Now, Connolly was brought up along with Dylan Peters on Friday, but Peters has been optioned back to AAA as Odrisamer Despaigne is back from his rehab assignment, reinstated before the game today. That's the updated look at the Marlins bullpen as Nimmo rips one foul.
Well, at 95 to 97, you really like to see Connolly stay with the velocity. Is overpowering.
On the ground to Rojas. Strong throw. Got him at first. Again, a closer look at those last 4 starts. 27 2/3 innings, 5 walks and 14 strikeouts. He has been up in the big leagues before, having pitched in 62 games. Second round pick in 2011. And a guy who has certainly thrived in this ballpark, pitching to a sub-1 ERA, 0.72.
Timing to get him back. Perfect.
Here is Asdrubal Cabrera. It was Cabrera's RBI double back in the 3rd that got the Mets on the board. Of course, the only run tonight. Mets took all 3 games that these two teams played in Miami back in April. Mets won 4-2, 8-6, 4-1. There will be a lot more meetings between these two as Cabrera drills it down the left field line, but foul.
Well, this gives you a pretty good look at where Cabrera is right now with his swing. Very rarely do we talk switch hitters who are hot from both sides of the plate. Cabrera is definitely that. Comes into tonight.
And a base hit over the leap of Castro. Thinking about second base, but he slides to put on the brakes. And a 1-out single, his second of the night. 1 on 1 out. Take a trip to 1993 as the Marlins celebrate their 25th anniversary. Join us the weekend of June 8th through the 10th with some of your favorite World Series champs, throwback moments, giveaways, and much more. Rep your teal as the Marlins take on the Padres in our throwback jerseys. Visit marlins.com/25. Jay Bruce.
And just wrapping up on Cabrera, my goodness, 333 versus lefties, 316 versus righties on the season. Talking about how he's handled himself from both sides of the plate. You know you're locked in when you hit a long foul ball and then you follow it up with a base hit the other way.
And now Bruce the other way into the seats. Ball and 2 strikes to the Mets right fielder. Cabrera on at first after his 18th multi-hit game this season. He's got that average up to 327. And Bruce strikes out. Second out here in the 6th.
Oh, nice stuff from Connolly. This is the changeup. Well done. Completely fools Jay Bruce, who was very much concerned with the velocity, the 95 and 96 he saw from Connolly. He's not considering the changeup.
Michael Conforto grounded out to end the 1st inning, singled and was caught stealing in the 4th. In on the hands, a little floater to Prado. And a nice inning of work for Adam Connolly. Through 6 here at Citi Field. Marlins down 1-0.
Stand up. We just getting started. They don't want to see us started. We just getting started. We just getting started. We the best. We just getting started. Another one. We just getting started. Let's win. We just getting. Let's go.
Always fun to come to New York City. Hang out here at Citi Field for 3 nights. Marlins and Mets. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth. Good ball game tonight, 1-0 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. AJ Ramos stays in there, delivers a strike to Miguel Rojas. After him, Lewis Brinson, and then the number 9 spot in the Marlins order. Base hit for Rojas back in the 5th inning. That was against Mets starter Jason Vargas, who surrendered only 2 in his 5 innings of work. A walk and 7 strikeouts. I'm only pointing this out because it's fun with numbers. Certainly not mocking the player. He shaved 4 runs off his ERA tonight. How about that? Came in at 13.86 down to 9.87.
5 shutout innings.
Marlins had their chance in the last inning. They had the bases loaded. Rojas continues a productive trip. Fights this one off, but it will get into the netting.
Probably shouldn't be surprised. Rojas hitting here 320 on the road this year.
Two to Rojas. Taps it foul.
You see AJ is an awful lot to contend with. Told you about the arsenal. Marlins fans certainly aware of that. Ability to throw the slow breaking ball, the slider, the cutter. Spot his fastball.
ball misses high and the count runs full. Light night around Major League Baseball, just 9 games. Those 2 NL East teams going head to head here, but also in Philadelphia, where the Phillies have a 3-0 lead on the Braves. If that score holds, then the Phillies leapfrog Atlanta into first place in this division. Drupal Cabrera, no, Odubel Herrera, close enough. Odubel Herrera, a couple of hits tonight after seeing that 45-game on-base streak come to an end yesterday.
He's at 1.
He is at 1.
Nice at bat. How about that? Nice job by Rojas. Leadoff walk.
All right, it's time for the big story. Speaking of Nick Williams in Philadelphia, just enough to get out the other way. Nick Williams with the home run. Aaron Altair with a home run in that one. For Williams, his 3rd. Altair, his 5th. As Devin Mesoraco may have a little equipment malfunction. I think I misspoke, by the way, when I said that with a Phillies win, they leapfrogged the Braves. It's a game and a half separating them. Maybe not an equipment thing at all, a little forearm.
And he's got quite the knot on his tricep.
Was there a backswing that got him?
I don't know. Clearly something did. I don't know if it was a foul tip or a backswing. Try to find out. He's definitely dealing with something. It's not his throwing arm, it is his receiving arm. He's trying to maintain full extension.
Trying to shake it off as best he can. Looks like he's going to stay in the ballgame. Well, after the walk to Rojas, it is Lewis Brinson. Fly out and strike out tonight for the Marlins center fielder. First look at Ramos in the career of Brinson.
Quick throw to first from Ramos. Jump. Short arm toss over to the first base back, keeping Rojas close.
Couple of steals this year for Rojas. Marlins haven't run that much. Good swing from Brinson, 0-2.
Picked up their 10th stolen base of the season on Castro's steal of 3rd.
Number 9 spot, and it looks like it could be J.B. Shuck. Marlins have already used Dietrich, so Shuck, Rivera, Holiday left on the bench. Here comes the 0-2 from Ramos. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. That was
slow 12-6 breaking ball does Brinson in. Similar to the one Dietrich had to contend with. Throws it right out over the plate. You see it starts above the thighs, ends up below the knees. Hard to lay off.
So it will in fact be J.B. Shuck off the bench for the Marlins. Shuck is a pinch hitter. 2 for 14. We've seen him leg out a few infield singles in recent days. He's got a hit in 5 of 6 career games against the Mets. This one up and in. Ramos out at second.
Oh my.
And out at first. Well, Shuck is very fast, but I think he got a little tied up with the pitch up and in. And it results in a double play that ends the 7th. Through 6.5 here at Citi Field, it's 1-0 Mets. Base though. Miguel Rojas was off on the pitch, a hit and run. You can see Shuck again get tied up, but Ramos deciding to go to second base.
I'll tell you, that's a brave play, especially when you consider Shuck's speed. And he rolls the dice, takes a gamble on a one-run ball game, and wins. Strong throw to second. Rosario, quick exchange and toss to first, and they get the double play. I didn't even think that was a possibility, but they no doubt turned it.
So Nick Whitgren is in for the 14th time. Has been so good out of this bullpen for the Marlins. Pitching to an .066 ERA. A .149 opponent batting average. He gets a clean inning here. There have been times when he's had to clean up the mess of a starting pitcher and has done a stellar job in doing so. He'll face Adrian Gonzalez, Devin Mesoraco, and Luis Guillorme for the Mets here in the 7th. Tonight Gonzalez 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. Strikeout came in the 4th. That was one of 3 strikeouts for Eliezer Hernandez, who worked the first 5 innings.
Now for Whitgren, lefty's hitting .208, righty's .087.
What'd you think of Hernandez tonight?
But he did a nice job, very nice job. change the game plan up just a little bit. Kind of referring to his last start. We talked about his last start, Hernandez against the Dodgers, staying in his lane, adding and subtracting, using the fastball, going to the changeup. Tonight, incorporated the slider. Was able to pick up some strikes at the bottom of the zone with the slider, and in fact, was even able to get ahead of a few hitters with the slider, so used it a little bit more. Again, moved his fastball around as he typically does. Then you get to the end result. He's only allowed 1 run.
10 innings as a starting pitcher, 8 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Not afraid to attack.
And for good reason. He's not getting.
On the ground left side, and it's Rojas on the run, dug out by Bohr. Nice job on both ends, and Rojas had to contend with a diving Martin Prado right in front of him. One away in the 7th.
A lot going on in this play, including the out at first base. You watch Prado, valiant effort to get to this height. Chopper can't come up with it. Rojas clean, strong throw, and nice pick by the big guy at first, JB.
Nicely done by Miggy. Doing it on both ends, and a nice pick over there at first by Bohr. Here's Mesoraco. Mesoraco struck out in the 2nd inning. Flew out to right field down the line. A great sliding catch near the wall by Brian Anderson in that 4th inning. Inside to Mesoraco, 1-1. They'll test Anderson again, and this one is going to fall in right around that same spot. Anderson picks it up, throws to second, and Mesoraco is in there, really into no man's land down the right field line. Bohr a long way out and a long way in for Anderson. It's a double for Mesoraco.
Now in this instance, Bohr really the only chance of making a catch. It's a changeup. See Mesoraco really pull his hands through. Probably lets that changeup get a little too deep. Brian Anderson not even in your picture yet.
So a runner in scoring position for the Mets. 0 for 1 in those situations tonight. The only run scored, an RBI double by Asdrubal Cabrera in the 3rd. Luis Guillorme takes ball 1.
A couple of flyouts tonight for Guillorme.
10th round pick by the Mets in 2013. Graduated from Coral Springs Charter High in Florida. He was robbed on a sliding play by Lewis Brinson back in the 5th inning. And a strike from Whitgren, 2-1. Netting above the Marlins dugout. 2-2. So Guillorme went 1 for 1 in his first 2 games as a big leaguer, and then he went 1 for 3 in his 3rd game. So he got hits, 3 consecutive hits, 3 for his first 3. First Mets player to do that since Steven Matz, of all people.
Yeah, I saw that note. It's actually interesting. Matt's a pretty good hitter.
Matt's from nearby. A Mets fan growing up. Let's see Matt's in this series. Zach Wheeler tomorrow and Jacob deGrom on Wednesday. With the game at hand, the Marlins down a run here in the 7th inning, trying to keep it right there. And it's through Prado and into left field.
The Marlins catch a break as Mesoraco is only able to move up 1 base. He has to read the ball to the left side, so he freezes and starts to retreat 1 step, thinking Prado's going to come up with it. Only allows him to move up 1 spot.
So that will bring up the pinch hitter, Wilmer Flores. The play Prado makes 99 times out of 100.
Flores 2 for 21 with runners in scoring position this season. 0.95.
In there for a called strike. His numbers on the season at 234. But hitting 297 in his last 12 games, and he had the walk-off sacrifice fly on Saturday night against the Diamondbacks. Shoots this one foul. 0-2.
3 for 11 as a pinch hitter. Career numbers against the Marlins, pretty good production. 13 homers, 36 RBIs in only 56 games.
Whitgren looking for a ground ball here. He gets one, but it's past Castro. And Flores comes through off the bench. It's 2-0 New York.
Yeah, you're right, Paul gets the ground ball he's looking for. And despite the numbers with runners in scoring position, it's the type of contact. Gets the ground ball, but it's hit hard to the right side. It's going to drive in the 2nd Mets run of the night.
And out to the mound is Juan Nieves. Time for the Toyota trend. After the quick start, we saw the Mets right around that time. They were 11-1. Since then, 6 games under 500. Runs per game are down to below 4. And as I mentioned earlier, after sweeping the Diamondbacks over the weekend, it was just their 2nd series win since that start.
Yeah. A lot of those numbers really scream to the disabled list. I mean, you look at the bloated ERA. You pointed it out early. The top dogs in the rotation, deGrom and Syndergaard, fantastic, but the rest of the rotation struggling.
And Rosario out to center field. Brinson is back, will make the catch, and on to third goes Guillorme. Well, yeah, all the hype around that stretch when the Marlins were hosting the Mets was that it was going to be the first time that those homegrown 5 were going to start in consecutive days. And now one of those 5 isn't even here anymore. Matt Harvey's a Cincinnati Red.
Yeah, they just wanted to do it once.
They waited so long and only to do it once. First and third now for Brandon Nimmo. Yorme at third and Flores at first. It was the RBI for Flores that doubled the Mets lead. A strike to Nimmo, who was 0 for 3 tonight. Just for bookkeeping's sake, it is an earned run. As Nimmo thinks about bunting and takes a strike. Way upstairs, 2-2. Count runs full. That will release Flores from first with 2 outs.
Well, Nimmo's shown great patience. 11 walks, 15 games played for the Mets.
Here comes the payoff pitch. This one is driven out to right field. Anderson back on the track. Makes the catch for out number 3. A loud third out. But the Mets tack on one more in the 7th inning. Nimmo thought for a second, but Anderson with enough room to the 8th. Live pregame show on the air, 6:30. As Caleb Smith back on the mound for the Marlins. Zach Wheeler goes for the New York Mets. Middle game of 3 here at Citi Field. Caleb Smith, last time out, a little bit of a hiccup, but has been extremely good. Really a different pitcher since the end of April.
Well, and here will be a really good test. He went on that incredible run. It was about 3 or 4 starts in a row consecutively where Caleb Smith, flipped the switch, complete 180, call it what you will. kicker is he had the bad last start, and pitch count started to go up, ends up out of the game early. Can he get back to that form?
We'll find out tomorrow, a little after 7 here in New York. Seth Lugo takes over and delivers a called strike to Martin Prado. Prado, Real Muto, and Castro due up against the 5th pitcher of the night for the New York Mets. In his 17th game this season, a sub-2 ERA and a sub-200 batting average against. Whether it's Lugo or Gazelman, there's a couple of guys in that Mets bullpen who used to be starters in this rotation who have perhaps found new homes for the Mets. Too short. Rosario gets a good hop, and Prado is retired. Let's go downstairs to check in with Jessica Blaylock. She's there. Trust us. Marlins Live postgame show coming up live from the field with the aforementioned Jessica Blaylock. We'll hear from Don Mattingly afterwards. Sure, he'll have some pretty nice things to say about Eliezer Hernandez and his 5 innings of work tonight, 3 strikeouts. But what will he say about the offense? That it was quiet, or that it put together a rally late in the ball game? That much we do not know yet. JT Realmuto 0 for 3 tonight. Down on the count 0-2. A force for this lineup. JT Realmuto has reached base in all but 4 games that he has played this season. A leaping grab at third by Guillorme. 2 away.
Well, maybe the hardest hit off of Marlins bat tonight. Oh, this rocket. Guillorme able to range high to bring it in.
It's 2 outs for Starlin Castro. Castro a base hit and a stolen base back in the 6th inning.
Lugo continuing the trend of success. He's been so good of late. And the transition between he and Gesellman into the bullpen, that's kind of how they set it up. They want to get to Familia, but Lugo and Gesellman, the bridge to Familia now. Well, that has changed over some time.
Well, you can tell that he's not far removed from being a starter, because you don't see nowadays many relievers going with the full windup.
Well, he's still working multi-innings. He's actually gone 2 innings or more in 9 of his 16 outings. Which makes him a very valuable weapon late in the game. You can use that bridge a little bit earlier if you need to. Think about it in terms of outs as opposed to innings pitched. Because Gesellman can do the same thing.
Castro, right center field. Conforto dives and he can't make the play. On to second goes Castro, thinking about third, and he's on his way. He will reach with 2 outs in the 8th.
LA rocket off the bat. Starlin Castro, one-upsmanship here. So JT had hit it the hardest. This definitely the hardest hit ball of the night for the Marlins. Good effort by Conforto. Good at bat by Starlin Castro. Stayed on the fastball and drove it past him. And a little tail to it as well. Pulled the hands in.
2 hits tonight and both with 2 strikes. So Brian Anderson. Again, base runners on for the Marlins, but with 2 outs. As Anderson into left field, that one is caught by Nimmo.
Wow.
Lots of defense in this ball game, but Don Mattingly may want to see if Nimmo trapped this or not. Now it got underneath his body, so without having seen a replay yet, it might be a little tough.
Yeah, he was able to keep the ball off the ground, no doubt about it. Keeps it in the glove, turns the glove. It's a good move by Nimmo.
2-0 Mets after 7½. A little bit, right? For your Coors Banquet timeless moment, New York Mets look to be headed to the postseason in 2007. But Tom Glavine gave up 7 first-inning runs on the last day of the year, and the Marlins ended up winning the ball game. Now that was when the New York Mets, again, as I said, cruising to the postseason. They led the NL East by 7 games with 17 games left, and they were eliminated on the last day of the 2007 season. Aaron Guerrero in. Blows one by Asdrubal Cabrera. Now, Guerrero was on the mound yesterday afternoon in the 9th inning, came in after Brad Ziegler, and gave up the hit to Dansby Swanson that capped the comeback by the Atlanta Braves to win it 10-9 in the series finale. He gets the ground ball to Bohr, and there is one away.
Well, I love that he's back out on the mound tonight. The best way to recovery is to get back out and play this game again. Turn things around. This young man, very talented. Certainly a lot happened yesterday emotionally. The Marlins were walked off by the Atlanta Braves, but as I've said many times, this is a very forgiving sport. You play 162 times a year.
On tap foul at home plate by Jay Bruce. MLB At Bat is your #1 app for Marlins baseball. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. The 0-1 to Bruce. Well, what did you see yesterday from Guerrero?
Well, his command was not right where it needed to be in that tight ball game, and as the momentum was picking up and as the fans were getting louder and more excited, you know, those pressures-filled situations really hit to the ground ball to the right side into the shift. Out number 2. You know, you could feel the pressure, almost like a pressure cooking, kind of growing and mounting. And when you're a veteran and you've been through a lot of the wars, you'll learn how to kind of develop a tunnel vision that allows you to make all of everything that you hear, everything that you see going on around you kind of go away, meaning a lot of the noise. And I think in that instance, Guerrero felt it a little bit more because of his age. He'll learn from this, and he'll bounce back and get thrown into that fire again, and he will succeed because of that experience.
This is Conforto. The Marlins had 3 on the right side of the infield, so he goes right back up the middle. A base hit for Conforto, second of the ball game.
Well, this is a classic shift base hit, not hit hard, 100 miles an hour. And tell you what, Conforto didn't hit it hard through the middle either. No man's land.
But a multi-hit effort for the Mets center fielder tonight. And that will bring up Adrian Gonzalez. Made a bid for a hit in his last at-bat. Miguel Rojas had other ideas. And that one low. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's interesting because I remember we were talking about when that inning started in the 9th inning last night. It was 9-4, right? And we were talking about what was going on in Anaheim with the Rays and the Angels, and you know how they're going kind of backwards the last couple of days with Sergio Romo starting back-to-back games. And it's interesting at the front of the game, but you and I think both agree that while yes, there may be high leverage situations in the 6th, in the 7th, in the 8th, that 9th inning is a different animal.
Certainly.
And if Guerrero is going to be a closer at some point in his career, at the end of this year, 5 years from now, whatever it is, he's going to have to feel what that heartbeat is like in the 9th inning.
Well, in that situation, I'll say this real quick, that situation developed yesterday, which is unique. Typically, we talk about a 9th inning, 3-2 in the 8th, you go to the 9th. It sets itself up. You mentioned it. There was a large lead that the Marlins possessed in that 9th inning. All of a sudden, the drama happened in the 9th inning. It wasn't set up from the beginning. So as he's warming up in the bullpen, this isn't, I'm getting loose to go into a clean inning in which the 9th is mine and I've got to protect a 1-run lead. He didn't know the circumstances. He just sensed the momentum in the building and the lead was slipping away. So as he's getting ready, he's coming in with inherited runners on base, all sorts of different dynamics.
Adrian Gonzalez works the walk. 2 on, 2 out in the 8th. Jeurys Familia in the New York Mets bullpen. Here's Devin Mesoraco. Double and scored a run in the 7th. Whatever issue Mesoraco had earlier in this ball game, when in between pitches, he had the training staff come out and look at him. He has gone to that compression sleeve on the left arm.
He'll probably give himself some heat, some warmth, try to keep it loose. A pretty good size knot on that elbow.
On the ground to Rojas. And he goes the short way for the final out. We go to the 9th inning. Marlins down a couple. They'll face Familia. Nothing to Hide by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure, and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Nice night weather-wise here at Citi Field, but not much in terms of the offense. No runs on the board tonight for the Marlins. Right out of the gates today, Jason Vargas worked the first 5, gave up 2 hits, struck out 7. Then Sewald, Blevins, Ramos, Lugo followed suit, and now Jeurys Familia in his 22nd game this season. Saved 7 consecutive to start the season, but only 5 of his last 8. 12 of 15 overall on the year.
1.71 ERA. He's unscored upon in 18 of his 21 outings.
Third most saves in the National League. He'll face Bohr, Dietrich, and Rojas.
Sinker slider for the most part. You will see a 4-seam fastball if he needs it. Sinker about 60% of the time. Throws hard, 95 to 97.
First pitch swinging for Bohr into the shift. Cabrera, 1 away. And here is Derek Dietrich. Struck out against A.J. Ramos, pinch hitting in the 6th inning. A strike at 95 miles an hour.
One of the few that has good career numbers against Familia, 4 for 9.
Go up with the fastball again, misses, 1-1. Let's play Dietrich to pull on the infield with Rosario a little bit closer to the second base bag, and Guillorme well off the third base line.
Back-to-back sliders from Familia.
Now with 2 strikes and velocity, do you see that line wide open down the third base line as a left-handed hitter?
No. You're worried about contact right now, shortening up, put the ball in play. I mean, you recognize it. You can't really shoot for it. Yes,
sure you can. Absolutely you can. Into the corner. Dietrich on his way to second. Here's the throw, and it's a 1-out double for Derek Dietrich.
If he tells you tomorrow that he was aiming there with 2 strikes, I'll give him a piece of cake, for crying out loud. Well done, right on time. How about it? Front foot down, stays right down the line and keeps it fair. Now 5 for 10 against Familia in his career. Good piece of hitting.
In fairness, I don't think it mattered where Guillorme was playing. That was a double, no doubt about it. So the Marlins bring the tying run to the plate here with 1 out in the 9th. And it's Miguel Rojas, who had a hit back in the 5th inning and walked in the 7th.
Well, it wasn't too long ago. You would think, okay, it takes a couple hits, tying run to the plate. Marlins got to keep this thing going. Dare I say, 1 swing of the bat ties this ball game up for Miguel Rojas. 2 home runs yesterday. 7 on the season.
Mesoraco got crossed up again. Fairly new to the team. I mean, he's been here a few weeks, but that's already the 2nd time tonight.
Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. I'm really not surprised. I mean, you get into game situations, he's got an entire bullpen that he's got to know and get adjusted to, along with the starters. I think most guys go to spring training and use all 6-7 weeks to know your staff. Mesoraco, in some regards, has been thrown into the fire.
I guess that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of catchers traded around the deadline. Certainly not frontline catchers. But anyway, a ball and no strikes to Rojas. One for 6 with a couple of strikeouts in his career against Familia. Time called.
With the tight nature of this ball game, it has come to a bit of a crawl here in the last few innings.
Brinson on deck, but Rojas the tying run with 1 out in the 9th inning. Ball and 2 strikes. Marlins have 5 hits tonight. 4 of them have come with 2 strikes. They could use another right here. Rojas, a .290 hitter with runners in scoring position at the beginning of the day.
Familia has given up a home run this year, 14 in his career, and just over 300 innings of work. Carlos Santana, the Philadelphia Phillies, got him.
Rojas chases and Mesoraco applies the tag. There are 2 outs.
Well, he buries the slider. Rojas unable to hold up. It's a tough one to strike out. Rojas chases for out number 2. You can almost think about setting your sights down. Familia knows where he needs to stay, and he knows one swing of the bat could tie this game up.
So it's up to Brinson. His first career grand slam in yesterday's ball game. Also added a hit later. Kind of fought one off, little broken bat into left field. Fouls that one straight back, 1-1. Familia struck out Brinson in the only previous meeting between these two. Ryan Holiday in the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. And the Marlins down to their final strike tonight. Ground ball left side, backhanded by Rosario. Long throw out at first. Brinson went with the head first dive. And unless the Marlins want to take a look at it, and they might, that one's going to end it. A closer look. The Marlins are going to challenge the call. I don't know if it's enough to overturn it, but with 2 outs in the 9th inning, really nothing to lose. A tough backhand play by Rosario, and the benefits of being a lefty throwing first baseman for Adrian Gonzalez. He's able to stretch that way. And if you ask me, I think he's out.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's certainly in the interior of the glove before Brinson's hands get to first base. This is not going to take long, and here is your final call. He is out.
And crew chief Kerwin Danley says that's it. So the Mets shut out the Marlins tonight by a final count of 2-0. A well-pitched game on both sides. The Mets were able to push single runs across in the 3rd and 7th. Mets take game 1 of this 3-game series. Back to wrap it up with Marlins Live postgame show coming up after the break.